Okay, guys, so I'm finally doing my review of Henry Hatsworth in the Puzzling Adventure. Now, I bought this game because I was hearing a lot of positive reviews, and after playing it for myself, I've sort of got some mixed feelings. But anyways, that's what this review is for. Okay, first of all, let's talk about the design of Henry Hatsworth in the Puzzling Adventure. All you need to do is look at the case. Yes. So pretty much, here's what it is. You're Henry Hatsworth, who is a totally badass gentleman. He can kick ass but still be civilized at the same time. He is so totally awesome. Seriously, you got to see him in action. And then, this is one of the segments where, as I said, I've got some mixed feelings. I think Henry Hatsworth himself is actually a really cool and unique character. It's really nice to see something special like that. But the level design and the audio, it's just not that the level design is bad. It's not like the design of the levels are bad. Because it's got this really weird thing where, so that you're not looking at the same, they change the background every single level, but they only change it slightly, so you feel like you're watching the same background over and over and over again. It sort of feels weird, because you feel like you're not getting anywhere, but then you finally get somewhere, and you're like, oh. It's the same thing with the audio. It's just like up and down, up and down, up and down, all over the place. So it's very hard to decide. Alright, now let's talk about the controls. This is another place where I have mixed feelings, believe it or not. Because it's pretty simple to understand the controls. The B button's jump, the Y button's melee attack, the A button fires some projectiles, and the X button swaps between the platforming and the puzzle, but I'll talk about them in the gameplay segment. It's just, the weird thing is, with the melee, there's a real weight to your weapon. Your character, goes really fast and slow when you do it. If I was expecting, controls that I could immediately get into, but just because of the weight of the melee attacks, let me see how I could explain this. Your character moves very slow with it, because it's very powerful, and the projectiles are so fast but so weak. So you really gotta find a steady balance between the two. And that's where I think that they may have been taking this game a bit away from the quick play audience. Which is, I'm fine with that, because I'm a hardcore gamer. But it's just sort of awkward how it seems like the game's aimed for casual players, but I think casual players may need some practice. Now let's talk about challenge. Another segment where, surprise, surprise, I've got mixed feelings. It's so weird because it's so forgiving, yet not forgiving at the same time. The way the game's forgiving is whenever things get too challenging, you can always switch to the puzzle element, which I'll explain in gameplay, and just simply do that to help you get, all your life back and do all that stuff. But the game's extremely unforgiving because the levels are long. There are very few checkpoints. There are loads of enemies everywhere. And the reason it's so unforgiving, if you just fall down one hole, the levels are way too long, way too little checkpoints. You need to go way too far back and do it all again. That's where I think, again, I've got mixed feelings of it, because it's unforgiving, yet it's too forgiving. Okay, now it's time for the topic you've all been waiting for, gameplay. Okay, so it swaps between platform elements and puzzling elements, as you can tell from the name, Henry Hatsworth in the Puzzling Adventure. And it's got its fair share of up and downs, pros and cons, and all that stuff. As I explained in the challenge, it can be way too forgiving. but the levels are so long because you spend so much time in the puzzle element. So you really got to think of how you balance it. Now, and you got to kill each and every enemy to pick up the money they drop, and the money can be spent in the shop, so you can buy like upgrades for your attacks and do all that stuff. But as an overall game, it is that sort of up and down, up and down, up and down sort of thing. For every positive, there's a negative. For every negative, there's a positive. In opinion, Henry Hatsworth in the Puzzling Adventure is a 6. In quality, Henry Hatsworth in the Puzzling Adventure is a 6. And in total, the game's a rental. I heard so many positive reviews. I really got my hopes up, and in the end, it sort of feels like your standard platformer. Well, anyways, see if you disagree with me. Rent it.